Hi, I'm Kevin Tates with Paintucation, and you are listening to Gearheads and Gasoline Podcast.
But even I was talking, uh, you're gonna look at them, and how many cars did they demolish?
Somebody mute Jesse.
Sorry. How many?
It's okay.
How
We'll
many
call
old-
that JH Restorations in California next time.
Yeah. But
So I have a mute
many
button
cars-
on the when we're editing this. I can just mute a person. I'll have
Oh,
the time
thank
that
you.
we at here. Yeah.
Amanda, edit that out.
Welcome to the Gearheads and Gasoline Podcast, where we dive into the high-octane world of market-leading shop owners, shop employees, and automotive enthusiasts from the aftermarket, restoration, performance, and racing industries. So strap in as we take you on an awesome journey with our guests as they share their real-life stories, lessons learned, business advice, and unfiltered insights to help you beat the school of hard knocks. Gearheads and Gasoline, fueling your success.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Gearheads and Gasoline Podcast, sponsored by Redline Oil and AMD. We're starting season 3, so this episode we're going to be talking to our guest co-hosts that are going to come in here periodically with different episodes and hang out with me for an hour and talk to some awesome guests we have lined up. So first off, I would like to do a shout out to Annette Bauer, my past co-host for season 2 and 3, and she helped me get this started. She's really an inspiration to me, taught me a lot, and talked about how, hey, stop moving around so much. Don't ask 3 questions at a time, things like that. So Annette has been amazing. She's brought some amazing guests on, and we're just, Annette's moving on to some other things. So we're hoping that she does well with that. But anyways, I want to get started with this episode to introduce everybody that's going to be guest co-hosts that have come on board to support Gearheads and Gasoline. So I'm going to list everybody out. Katie Abraham from Ironman 4x4, Eddie Sabreco from Automotive Direct and Eddie Bear Foundation, Jason Chandler from AMD, Jesse Henke from Jace Restorations, and Sean Sawyer from Revved Automotive Consulting. So say hi to everybody. A lot of these people, Eddie and Jason, are everywhere on the internet. I know that Jason and Jesse are are working with ARMO, the council at SEMA, and Katie's a big advocate and supporter and on the council for SBN. She's also going to be the main speaker at the Women's Forum, so that's pretty cool. And so I'd like to start with Katie. Tell us a little bit about yourself, the company you work for, how you support the industry, and things like that.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thanks for inviting me to join Barry and everybody else. Like Barry said, I'm Katie Abraham. I work for Ironman 4x4. I'm the marketing director for the Americas, primarily Canada and the US, and also involved in a variety of different things. I have a problem with being bored, so I make sure that that doesn't happen. So I also compete in stage rallying and rally raids, primarily as a co-driver because being a driver is expensive. So I do that and then volunteer with SBN. And like Barry said, I have the great pleasure of being the MC for the upcoming leadership forum, and then I'll be doing a couple of keynote sessions as well. I have my own company called Falcon Dynamic Consulting, where really it's kind of just an excuse to write off all my vehicles, but has now turned into more, where I not only consult on marketing, but teach 4-wheel drive education, driving, recovery, from level 100 up to extreme recovery. And then I'm also the team manager for Baja Forged Race Division and an instructor with Real Deal Revolution and that group. So, like I said, I don't get bored.
Yeah, when you find time to be a guest co-host, you're very busy.
You just, the nice thing about working fully remotely with Ironman is that I can flex my time whenever. But I also have a great team. So it's nice to be able to say, hey, sorry, I got to go to King of the Hammers. Can you keep this all locked down? And they're
That's
great.
good to know it's not just the guys that are ADHD.
Yeah. Oh no.
Hard
my
carrying.
Yeah, my other half, we have 2 Belgian Malinois as well, which if you know that breed, it's like children who are highly intelligent and never stop pestering you.
Yeah, I've got
Uh,
border collies. So
yes. So he gets to hang out with them while I go away, and by the time I come back, he's like, "I'm gonna need you to handle this
take the
situation."
kids.
Yeah.
King of Hammer starts what, next week or
2 weeks, basically, a little less than that, but I'm gonna say 2 weeks because I still have a bunch to get done, so, makes me feel better about myself.
Hey guys, you're watching the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast. I'm Jason with AMD. Check this out.
Cool. Well, thanks, Katie. We're super excited to have you. Eddie, you're up next. Tell us about yourself and how crazy busy you are in the Eddie Berry Foundation.
What's up, guys? Eddie Sabrecka from Automotive Direct. I do marketing and events here with Jason. And yeah, we do about 30, 35 events a year. A lot of content for the YouTube channel, a lot of guests that we do. And we try to integrate with the industry as much as we can as far as helping out other companies and, giving as much advice as we can and going to any promoter and many events as we can, backing up as many promoters as we can, just doing a lot of crossover as much as we can for the industry. That's really it. I have Eddie Bear Foundation, which is my charity that AMD backs, which is awesome. So they've allowed me to open up a bunch of outlets for that. I collect new unwrapped stuffed animals and we donate them to the Children's Hospital. And then I have deals with law enforcement all over the Southeast where I provide the bears that go in the vehicles for all the patrol vehicles.
Jason.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. My name is Jason Chandler. I'm the marketing director here at Automotive Direct with Eddie. I don't know if that's a great thing or a curse, but we have a good time. A little bit about
Amanda,
me.
edit that out.
Right, I knew that was coming. I am on the ARMO Select Committee. I've had 25 years experience in this aftermarket, automotive restoration, classic cars, you name it. I'm a father and husband, and I'm really just excited to be here with you guys.
You are just all over the place too, right? So with Eddie, both you guys are like everywhere, majorly on social media. So we're excited to have you, and that's why I reach out to everybody here, because everybody knows you in the industry, and you really dig into the industry and support of the industry as well. That's one thing we don't talk about a lot, as far as everything that everybody's here is doing to, one of the big things on the podcast is youth engagement, right? And we're all doing stuff to promote that and getting other people in the industry. But yeah, Jesse Hankey, talk to
Hey,
us.
how's it going, guys? Jesse Hankey, GH Restorations, Windsor, Ontario, Canada. I've been in business for about 20 years, pushing into our 21st year. Just busy, keeping the pedal on the floor. Got a lot of builds going on, working with a bunch of incredible people. All the guys in here, Katie, yourself, nice to meet you. Yeah, been a member of ARMO and SEMA for many years now. Been on the board for ARMO for the last 4. Really enjoying it, the connections, the people, pushing the industry forward and being a part of it. Got a young daughter at home, 2 teenage boys, 2 Great Danes. Don't know where I find the time to play with cars, but I still do. So just coming on board to help everybody out and educate you the best we can. Give you some information on how we got rolling, absorb any ideas anybody else has got. We're all moving forward together.
Yeah, for sure. Jesse and I work together on ARMO for the booth cars every year, so we're in charge of that. Jason and I do all work on the social media part too, so we're all super busy. How many meetings a month? Getting closer to SEMA, it's like 4 meetings a month. for Armo. So it's crazy. But anybody listening to this that's in the auto restoration space, we'd love to have you as a member. Thanks, Jesse. Sean, last but not least, you fell at the bottom of the ladder because of all the S's in your name.
Because S's, and I haven't been on the podcast before, so I'm last. So it's okay, Barry. I forgive you. Hey, I'm Sean Sawyer. Man, where do I start? I have been in the automotive industry for over 30 years. Next to Barry, I'm probably the oldest one here. The last 20 have been specifically in the pro touring world, handling high-end builds for private clients. I've done low volume manufacturing, design, custom vehicles, things of that nature. Last project ended about 6 months ago. So I've kind of refocused my career towards a problem I've seen in the industry where people have the talent for the work, but not the talent for the business. So a lot of really, really talented people end up just, running their businesses into the ground because nobody ever taught them how to run a business. So I started Revved Automotive Consulting to do exactly that, just focusing on the performance and restoration side of the industry. Let's just start with the nuts and bolts of the business, the same way we build cars. Lifelong advocate for high performance vehicles. I track my 20 GT up at Eagles Canyon. Katie, I had a Can-Am for years, off-roading, the surrounding 5 states. Just anything high performance and going fast. Personally, so I have border collies, and I've got 2 grown kids now, 19 and 21. So I'm on the back end of, the kid life. So yeah, I just get
You're
to
on
play
the
with
fun
cars.
side.
Yeah, right.
Cool. Well, Sean, thanks very much for that. We had a conversation at SEMA for lunch one day, and I says, I got this thing to figure out for the podcast. What do you think? And we got talking about the whole idea of having guest co-hosts. So I'm super stoked for this. Is there anything else? Well, first of all, I'll remind everybody else too that hasn't watched this podcast. I own Motorhead Digital. I'm a marketing agency that supports auto restoration and custom build shops. That's all we focus on, right? We're big into youth engagement. We work with a local tech school here for that, and on the board for Armo, have been involved in that for years. Been a speaker at SEMA for the last, 6 times in the last 5 years, and looking to speak this year as well with my buddy Jason. So we're working on something for that. And then the big thing is supporting the industry and helping move forward and getting this podcast is about educating other shop owners, learning stuff from one shop owner, learning from another shop owner, right? Or a manufacturer or whatever. And also young people, hopefully some young people will hear this and go, that guy started a business in his driveway. I can do that and then also the conversations about there's a lot of people out there, especially younger people that don't know who to talk to. And I think, scared to talk to people like everybody here on this episode and any guests we've had on the show in the past, telling them, helping them learn that they can just get out there and ask questions, because if they don't, they're never going to know, and get involved in the industry. Is there anything else that you guys have to share as far as your thoughts on the podcast or what we're moving forward with or the industry in general?
Yeah. Yeah.
You could go in any direction. I mean, we just went through 6 different people with 6 different backgrounds, except for Jason and Eddie. Everybody's got a much different background, but even still, in your backgrounds, everybody's got so much information and experience. You're just going to ask questions and dive down a hole, I guess.
Barry, I like how you put it. We need to make this industry more available to the younger generation. Like with what Jason and Eddie are doing, going out to all these different events. I did the same thing when I was repping for Comp and Edelbrock. When you're working shows, anything you can do to engage the youth. I had a young lady I met years ago who was autocrossing her C3 Corvette when I was working in the Edelbrock booth, and then have followed her career through her. She's now finishing up her master's in mechanical engineering, getting ready to buy her next road course car. But just bringing young people like that into this industry and just instilling them with the passion that we all have for these cars. And that's what carries this industry forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, It's interesting because a lot of young people today are like, when I was 16, I couldn't wait to turn 16 and get my driver's license. And young kids today, a lot of them, they're not. And I'm like scratching my head, right? And then on the flip side, Keith, one of my team members and I, we were at a big coffee and cars in Buffalo last fall, and you wouldn't believe the number of kids walking around that show. So there is hope, but there's a big, anybody here will tell you, especially um, Sean and Jesse, that finding good help is really a problem in the industry. Um, Finding people that will that even know what a hammer is. Sometimes I've heard stories, you know. So that's why we focus a lot on the youth engagement too. So
Right, from our standpoint too, like we've got two teenage boys. One of them's not so interested in the roundabout of building cars, but he likes the background, the social media, working with Kevin in the shop, taking pictures and working around the cars. He doesn't want to be on camera. He doesn't want to be the one swinging the hammer. He doesn't want to be the one taking credit. He's an introvert. He likes video games and playing them downstairs, but he'll take our car bodies and put them into video games and play. Our younger son, he's 13. Come to find out, he had a birthday party. There's 10 kids at the soccer field. They wanted to stop at the shop first and see what we're doing. I had no idea
Really?
that 9 kids
Some
wanted anything to do with it. So if anybody wants to employ 9 kids that are going into grade 9, grade 10, I mean, we got a plethora of them. One guy, his dad's got a '69 Mustang and a 911 Porsche, and I had no idea. They're dismantled in their garages. And I get a phone call 2 days later from the dad going, "Hey, my son says you work on cars. Can you come take a look at this for me?"
You
So
have a trailer for all my parts.
yeah, it's astounding. Like the kids are out there and they have the interest, and I think part of it is a lot of parents and a lot of people are so busy with the day-to-day lives, making ends meet, with their jobs and their social media and their commitments, that they forget that their kids are there and they need the attention too. And I'm not saying that they're not giving the proper love and attention they need, but it's so busy. Like we play soccer, we play baseball, we play football, karate, art classes, sculpting classes, and then I want to go in the garage and work on a car, and that's just one more thing. And when does that happen? It's 9, 10 o'clock at night or the weekends, and the kids come in. So now, co-op rolled around this year, and these 9 kids have all applied for co-op to our shop. Like
wow.
I can
That's
take
awesome.
2, and I have 2 kids. So it's been really good, but it's just getting out and recognizing and sharing what you do that might get an interest. It might pique the kids' interest in so it's a lot of fun when you make those discoveries, when you're doing something that you get looked up for, and you just take a moment to answer a question, and you get 9 kids in your class and 2 fathers calling you for work. So it's a really
Yeah, that's cool. I've had some shop owners say I don't have time. And it's like, well, if you don't take the
mm,
time, right? And I understand you have to run a business and stuff, but if you don't take the time, how do you get the next generation into this? Because it will die, right? Especially on the restoration side, even the build side, right? Even if you're a custom builder like Jesse is and Ring Brothers and that, they're still restoring a car. You still have to do all that stuff and then add all the cool stuff to it. One of the biggest things that I saw just thinking about it, we're having this conversation, is coffee and cars everywhere. It seems to be growing more and more, and it's very family oriented and stuff. And I think that's going to be very beneficial. One story I have for everybody here is the trade school we're working with for Keith's Drag and Drive Dart, and money we donate from our local car show that we do once a year. Um, Talking to the teacher about their junior and seniors in school working on it, and talking to the teacher about the students. And he goes, we have seniors working on the dart and some juniors. And I go, how are your class in general? We have some really good seniors here, but the juniors are even better, which totally blew me away. So more kids are getting interested. I mean, we live in a farm community here, and he did tell me the difference. He says he worked at a different school that was closer to more closer to one of the bigger villages, cities. I don't know if they consider it a city, but he says kids would come in there that didn't even know what a pair of pliers was or a hammer and stuff like that. But if in a farm community, it's a little bit different, right? With the kids. The sad part about it, he said his school is the only school in New York State that he knows of that operates like a full body shop. The Gearheads and Gasoline podcast is proudly sponsored by Redline Synthetic Oil. With a legacy of excellence and over 100 premium products, Redline provides motor oils, gear oils, assembly lubes, fuel additives, and water wetter for the automotive, racing, motorcycle, marine, and industrial markets. Known for their exceptional quality and technical expertise, Redline is trusted by enthusiasts and professionals alike. Discover their full range of products and expert support at redlineoil.com.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Estimates, everything, right? Work orders, all that stuff.
Well, we're in like a very exciting time to build hot rods. You look at, there's the hammer and metal approach to building a car. But just look around Instagram, look on the internet, look at the rapid prototyping, the printing, the part making, the manufacturing, the design, the scanners, like all of those things. There's so many facets that, if you have an interest in engineering or and want to be a tech, but you don't want to go through the full 4-year degree program and you want to put your skills to use, there's any number of shops that are guys that are in their late 30s, 40s, into their 60s that are doing this, that don't have an edge on the technology that these kids, the stuff that's out there is just phenomenal. We're just at a very exciting time when it doesn't all have to be hands-on on the shop floor under a hoist with covered in grease. There's so many avenues that these people can be involved in, whether young, old, somebody looking. We had 2 people apply to our job posting. They're from totally different careers. One's a structural engineer and one's a landscape designer. And they're like, I just want to do something different. I want to get out and try something. In my spare time, I do all these plastic models, and that's what I build. Because that apply to what you're doing, because they're following Instagram, seeing the Ring Brothers, seeing JH build all these plastic prototype panels. They're like, well, I do that for my Christmas ornaments, my model cars. Can I build parts for you? And it's like, well, yeah, it's the same approach. Just, so you never know where the help is going to come from, the information is going to come from, and there's so much out there. It's just trying to funnel everybody down so you can get to the people you need to get to.
And some of those people are some of the best people, the ones with diverse backgrounds, because it's there's so many pieces to that work ethic. I love people from hospitality, because if you can work in hospitality, that's a brutal industry. And
yes,
I was
it
a
is.
restaurant manager for 5 years, and that was my first dip in my career, and it was awful. I was successful, but it was terrible the whole time. But it's some of the best leadership skills I've ever learned. But people with diverse backgrounds, problem-solving skills, they're able to apply the skills they've learned from other industries to maybe think outside the box. I did landscaping when I was in college and pruned bushes, and so now I can take care of my own yard, So it for me, I find those people super valuable. But back to the bringing in young people, I think that's one of the most untapped ways that especially new businesses or startup businesses, people who can't afford to have the best, most experienced tech, if you can take the time to invest in at least just one super passionate person who doesn't have the skill set but has the drive, you can then turn that person into your feeder and your leader to bring in, to continue to feed from that school or that next generation. It's what I did at an agency I worked at. Our turnover rate was so low because we brought these people in from the beginning. They didn't have any bad habits that we had to work out of them from, 30 years of whatever. Granted, you don't have the experience either, but there's such a benefit to that, while also giving back to the industry and making sure we're feeding it and it's going to continue. Like, there's just so many benefits that I find from that. And passion is such a big one. If you get a kid who is just so stoked to be there with you, and then you introduce them to some of your pals who are like salty old mechanics to you, but then to them they're like, oh my God, this is the best person ever. And you're like, just don't listen to them too closely. But man, it just they light you up as well because you're like, man, I remember when I was stoked to learn how to use a wrench. And
Attitude and
that's them.
aptitude.
Yeah. Well,
Those are
it's
two
funny,
things you
like,
hire for. If they've got a good attitude and they've got the aptitude, you can teach them whatever skills.
and it's fun watching them grow. Half of our staff now is all co-op students or young people that we gave a chance to. The Keely, one of our lead mechanics there, she wanted to be a heavy duty truck mechanic when she came in. She had these aspirations. She's gonna make all this money in, a matter of years, and she's gonna be big diesel truck and she can open her own shop. And now she's like, screw that. I like rolling around under a Fox body Mustang and putting Chevelles together. She's really enjoying it. She's found her niche. And our lead underneath the body shop manager, he was 14 years old when he started here. And so in 5 years, he's become the dependable person in the body shop. He's the right hand man. He does the billing, he does the materials, and he does estimating for hours. Like, that's unheard of for a kid his age because it doesn't apply to the collision industry at all. And we've taught him that. We've, like you're saying, Katie, you're not trying to teach out years of not doing it wrong, but doing it the way we need it done. You can't walk into a collision shop, most of them, and expect to get the same job that a restoration shop's going to put out. Or, like, you can't figure out the collision shop's not going to be able to figure out how to replace that part that doesn't exist. That now comes down to, the imagination of the person in the shop and the tech and the rapid prototyping and where to get that part made. There isn't anything we can't do anymore with the proper people. So, and then,
The
like I said, it's like,
imagination side is huge too.
I
They
mean, yeah, like
they bring such great ideas.
one of the kids that's coming in, he loves the movie Bad Guys, and he's like, I really want to build a go kart body out of that. He says, already plastic printed the front end. I'm like, yeah, but where'd you get the design? 13-year-old kid designed the Bad Guys car, and he's printing it, and he's making go kart out of his car.
Cool.
And that's insane. That's really cool. He's got the whole top. His head sticks through the roof, but it's got an interior in it. He's plastic printing all the glass. And they're like, what are you doing? But he's having fun with it. And I said, did you ever think about working on cars? He's like, no, but I love doing this. And he was one of the 9 kids that came in. He's like, that's like a bigger version of my little car. And he needed that connection. He was doing it at home just because he wanted to see if he could do it.
Jesse, that kind of touches back to something you said a little earlier, where this industry is so broad. And, guys like you and I that have been building cars for 20 plus years, we learned everything, hammer and dolly, you're sanding, you're stacking MDF and body working it. Today, all of that is completely obsolete. You can have a kid like this at 13 years old, design a car in CAD, turn it into an STL file. There are CNC power hammers. You can CNC machine rem board, and now you can make it out of carbon fiber. How we build cars today, just in the last 10 years, has completely changed. So getting these kids and old dogs like us, it's like, I can do 2D CAD. We start talking 3D CAD, not so much. So I can find that 20-year-old kid, or like Sasha, that engineering student, at 24 with her master's degree, who is passionate about racing and airflow and all of this stuff, and bring her in to help design vehicles. And all of a sudden your car building just starts, ratcheting up very quickly.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Motorhead Digital. Motorhead Digital are digital marketing experts for your automotive aftermarket, restoration, performance, race, and restyling shop. They help you supercharge your shop's website, social media, and entire online presence to attract those badass customers you're looking for. Check us out at motorheaddigital.com.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sky's the limit when it comes to the knowledge. And like, he's looking at people. Our old one of the gentlemen that used to work for us, he's now retired. He did all our detail work, so all the chrome, all the interiors, all the plastic trim panels, anything that needed to be detailed, he did it. His background, and that was not my thing. That's way too tedious. I don't want to be sitting there cleaning out grains and gaps and whatever. He built model ships, ships in a bottle and ships in those plastic cases. Thousands of hours go into them, and that same detail went into building our cars. And then he taught the next generation. So he retired. And now the jack of all trades that was running around the shop doing everything, now he's doing that. And he's doing a phenomenal job with those cars. And that was one older guy training one younger guy, and then giving a couple tips, and that younger guy feeding him and the rest of us to get the job done and passing that information along. And it's something you would have never thought would transfer over until it does, until they come up with, like, there's an aha moment and you sit back and go, I never thought that would work that way, or I never thought that that trade would move over to this one, and it really does. And it's so much of the manufacturing and industrial industries and even medical equipment is all starting to come into car building. You need those micro pieces to make switches and air conditionings work. It's all coming into these cars, and it's all behind the scenes. Like you look at our Merkur or at Foxby, there's a ton of technology in those cars, whether it's the technology that's actually making the car work or the technology it took to make those cars work. Like you were, Sean, you touched on that car is half 3D printed body kit and half like stacked up foam and made out of a die or sort of made out of wool. And it was now the next cars that we're doing are all computer, and it's a
digital.
third of the time to do it. And you've got the car, you've got the kit, it fits that car, and you're done. Not, in a roundabout way, you're done. And it wasn't us, it wasn't me that came up with that idea or my brother, the 40-year-old. It was the 20-year-old guys in the shop that said, why don't we do it that way? And it was like,
Now
you
it's
laugh
repeatable.
and you let them do it. And if they fail, they tried and you learn something. In this case, it's paying off.
Well, Jason and Eddie, I'm sure you guys have a lot of that in the sheet metal business.
Ton of that. Yeah, the way our processes go, we have 3D scanning and the CNC machines to build out prototypes and the robotics putting panels together. It all ties in, and that younger generation is much more fluent than the older.
Well, if you think about, even I was talking to Dynacorn back in the day, your competitor, whatever how you want to look at them, and how many cars did they demolish?
Somebody mute Jesse.
Sorry. How many?
It's okay. We'll call that JH Restorations in California next time.
Yeah.
So I have a mute button on the when we're editing this. I can just mute a person.
Amanda, edit that out.
But when you go back, I'm talking as little as 10 years ago, how many cars got demolished, cut apart? How many rust-free cars got cut apart to build those panels? Now you can walk up to it, scan it, render it, and build your dies off the car that's sitting there. And it's phenomenal. The ideas that roll around, the big printers coming out of Germany. There are 2 guys in Ontario plastic printing an entire car right now, an entire hot rod. There's a 32 Ford being built and a 69 Camaro, and they're being printed. And
if you've never looked at it, I don't know how to properly pronounce it, but it's Czinger, Zinger. They're out of California. They have a completely metal 3D printed and carbon 3D printed hypercar. The entire vehicle is CAD designed and 3D printed. That's the amazing world that we live in today.
Yeah. Well, what the guys in Toronto are doing, I can't mention it to them, but they've got a 32 Ford. They built the chassis. They put the engine in the chassis. Their printer is mounted over the chassis. They're printing the body on the frame of the car. So the frame is now part of the car. You cannot remove it. It is part of the car. I cannot wait to see this thing come to fruition. It's just incredible.
Now I've got another rabbit hole of videos to fall down. Like I was so stuck on this cement.
There goes your day on YouTube.
Printer things that build buildings with the cement thing. Like I still get stuck on the.
Well, they were doing that. I thought that was just like gimmicky Instagram stuff. At the end of my street, they're adding on to the subdivision, and the last 2 houses, there was a contractor out of Ottawa came out and was doing that, walking around the foundation and printed it.
It's so cool. I'm like, this is brilliant.
And they were still forming the other houses when this one's done and the truck's gone. And I'm not for taking jobs or whatever, but just to watch what they're doing, how it's backfilling it and printing out and laying out, stopping where the windows were and having them put their, the foundation footings in place. It's insane. Just insane.
Yeah. And it just, we've delved deep into the youth engagement stuff, but this year again at Spring Carlisle, there's a bunch of students from a school coming that work that are going to school for auto services, auto body. And I spoke to them last year and I said, look, if you find that you're not a person to work on the cars, right, but you like to do social media or you into CAD or computers, or there's a ton of jobs out there. I think the big thing that got all of this is, how does the industry get that out in front of the young kids that may not be exposed to it, and the teachers and the guidance counselors and all that don't know about it and aren't telling the kids that, hey, there's all this cool stuff out there. No, it's not just changing oil and fixing cars. There's a whole other industry that's doing some really badass cool stuff, right? that need young people to come into the industry. But anyways, I digress.
I'll just throw out there, that's a great plug for the SEMA councils. Because we engage with, I'm former ARMO, I'll be back on again, next cycle, but that's what we do is we take that message from SEMA, who is our, overseeing body, lobbying organization, however you want to phrase it, and bring that, to the communities. So yeah, Barry, that's about the best way, you can do that is just get as many people involved. We do a lot of speaking events. We have ARMO, does a lot of shows, SBN, TORA, all the different councils do community events in their niche of the industry.
Yeah. And I think Jesse and I were on a panel at SEMA this year. And I'll tell you, out of all the times I spoke at SEMA, that was the most fun because we had a lot of young kids there. It was all about youth engagement and how shops should think about that. So it was a really good session. But anyways, guys, we're approaching the top of the hour here. This is cool. I'm so excited to have you guys on board as guest co-hosts. I'm looking forward to doing this and moving forward and bringing some great content to other shop owners, to young people, and manufacturers and people in the industry to learn what everybody else is doing and just move forward. So with that said, thanks again. Thanks everyone for joining us on Gearheads and Gasoline podcast, where we're feeling your success. Hey, if you watch this episode to the end, you'll notice it was kind of rushed and we kind of seemed to cut it short. We were on a roll there. Well, we had some technical difficulties, and in the future, we want to bring the whole gang back together to talk more about how they market their business and everything that we talk about on Gearheads and Gasoline. But I hope you can join us and subscribe to watch future episodes with Katie, Jason, Jesse, Eddie, and Sean and myself, and get a lot of great information from our guest co-hosts, as well as our future guests that I think you'll be really excited to learn about.
We know you don't want to miss an episode, so don't forget to smash that bell so that you get notified of every new episode. Click that like button, leave us a comment, and share with your people. And visit us repeatedly. We love it.